Lesson 34, I will multiply two-digit multiples of 10 by two-digit numbers using a place value chart. So we're going to continue in this problem set the same strategies that you were using in your Zern lesson 34. If you have not done Zern lesson 34, you need to go back and do that first. So let's go ahead and write our name on our paper, and then let's go ahead and take a look at the directions here. All right, so the directions say, use the associative property to rewrite each expression. Solve using disk, and then complete the number sentences. So remember, the associative property says that whenever we use parentheses, remember what parentheses mean in math. That means do this first. Well, the associative property says that when I have three numbers multiplied together, like I do here, like this is 30 times 24, which is the same thing as 3 times 10. You can see they just broke down 30 as 3 times 10. Well, the associative property says, well, it doesn't matter if I multiply 3 times 10 first or if I multiply 10 times 24 first, I should still get the same answer. So, by looking at this problem here, it says 3 times 10, but you can see here that we changed it to 10 times 24. So we're going to do 10 times 24 first. So we're going to come over here to our place value disk and we're going to go show 24, 2 10s and 4 1s. Now remember, if I multiply times 10, that means that I'm taking this whole group and I'm moving it to the left because hundreds are 10 times as much as tens, and tens are 10 times as much as ones. So anytime you move a digit to the left on the place value chart, it's getting 10 times greater or 10 times as much. So when I multiply 2 10s times 10, well, now I have 2 hundreds. And when I multiply 4 1s times 10, now I have 4 10s. So I multiplied it times 10. Now I need to multiply it times 3. So I'm going to do 3 times 4 10s and 3 times 2 hundreds. Now you can see here that I've got more than 10 10s. So I can go ahead and bundle so that I don't have more than 10 10s in the tens place, which would be like this. There's 10 10s, that makes another 100. So now I have 7 hundreds, I have 4 10s, and I have no ones. So this would be equal to 740. All right, let's try another one. So this time we have 40 times 43. So we're going to use that associative property again. And you can see here that they have broken down 40 into 4 times 10. And it's still 40 times 43. So this has to be 43. So here we still have 4 times 10 times 43. We just use that associative property to move the parentheses. So instead of multiplying 4 times 10 first, we're going to multiply 4 after we multiply 10 times 43. So we're going to do 43 times 10 first. So let's come over here and let's make our 43. And then let's multiply this times 10. So 4 10s times 10 and 3 1s times 10. This time I'm not going to draw a circle around over here. So I've got 4 hundreds, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm not going to draw that circle because when I multiply it times 4, it gets a little confusing. And then here's my 3 1s times 10. So 3 1s times 10 is 3 10s. 4 10s times 10 is 4 hundreds. So now I'm going to multiply all of it times 4. So I've got 1, 2, that's times 2, times 3, times 4. Then I'm going to multiply my 3 10s times 4. And I can already see that I'm going to have some bundling. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to go ahead and pause this video. I want you to bundle where you need to, and I want you to find the answer, and let's come back and see if we have the same answer. Okay, so the first thing I did was I bundled in the hundreds. You can see here that I had over 10, so that made 1,000, and then I bundled in the tens, and then I ended up with 1,000, 7 hundreds, 2 10s, and no ones. So that gives me an answer of 1,720. I don't know about you, but I think this strategy is kind of fun. All right, so let's take a look at C. So again, you can see that they decomposed 30 into 3 times 10, and they multiplied the whole thing times 37. So we have 3 times 10 times 37. Now, I don't know, but I feel like you might start to feel a little confident, like maybe you can do this by yourself. I'm going to go ahead and talk through this entire problem, but if you're thinking, you know what, Miss Jennings, I got this, go ahead and pause the video and try this one all by yourself. But if you'd like to go through one more with me, just hang on and we'll go through one more. All right, so we're going to do 37 times 10. So let's go ahead and put our 37. All right, so there's 30 and 7, and we're going to multiply all this times 10. So 3 tens times 10 and 7 ones times 10. So that gives me 3 hundreds, and that gives me 7 tens. Remember to do this in a nice, organized fashion, or else it'll start to be a mess. So now we're going to multiply everything times 3. All right, so I've got 3 hundreds times 3, and now I'm going to do my 7 tens times 3. All right, I'm going to switch colors here. All right, so I don't have enough hundreds to bundle, but I can already see that I do have enough tens. So I've got 7, 8, 9, 10. That makes 100. And I may have enough to do one more. I got 2, 4, 6. Oh, yeah, I do. All right, so I've got 4 here. And there's another group of 10. Now I actually do have enough hundreds to bundle. So there's a group of 10 hundreds that can make 1,000. So I have 1,000, 100, and 110, and no ones. So my answer would be 1,110. So if you did this one by yourself, did you get the same answer as me? I hope so. All right, so let's take a look at 2. So now it says, use the associative property and place value this to solve. So this is the same thing that we were doing, except you're going to notice that they took some of our support away. In problem number 1, they kind of had the problem set up for us, and now we've got to do it by ourselves. So I'll show you how to do this. It's no big deal. So if you'll notice, in all of these problems over here, they were decomposing the 10. So they took 30 and made it 3 times 10. We took 40 and made it 4 times 10. And we took 30 and we made it 3 times 10. So we're going to look for our multiple of 10 in this problem. So our multiple of 10 in this problem is 20. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make that 2 times 10. And I'm going to put parentheses around that because that's what we did first. And then all of that was multiplied times 27. So now we're going to use the associative property. I still have 2 times 10 times 27, except instead of multiplying 2 times 10 first, we're going to multiply 10 times 27 first. And then we're going to see what we get. So we'll have 2 times something, and then we'll see what we get for that answer, okay? Just like we did in the other problems. So now over here I'm going to draw my place value chart. And it's okay to not draw the big square. I'm just going to divide it into columns like this. And I'm going to draw me a bar across the top. And this is going to be ones, tens, and hundreds. I am going to go ahead and do hundreds just in case I have some bundling. Because I feel like this will go into the hundreds. So the first thing I'm going to do is 27 times 10. So let's go ahead and put our 27. And then we're going to multiply all of this times 10. So 2 tens times 10. 7 ones times 10. So that's going to give me 2 hundreds, and then that's going to give me 7 tens. I may end up needing thousands here. I don't know. All right, so now I'm going to multiply everything times 2. So now probably not since I'm only doing times 2. So let's go ahead and multiply our hundreds times 2. So that's 2 times 2 hundreds, and let's do our 7 tens times 2. All right, I'm going to switch colors here. I'm going to bundle. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's really important that you're neat when you do this, or else you're going to end up missing something. You'll be off. You'll be 1 digit off, and your answer will still be wrong. All right, so I've got 5 hundreds, and I've got 4 tens, and I have no ones. So my answer would be 540. So this was 270. So I had 2 times 270, okay? All right, so let's try B. All right, so again, we're going to take our multiple of 10, which is 40, and we're going to decompose that into 4 times 10 times 31. Then we're going to multiply again, but this time we're going to use that associative property. Instead of doing 4 times 10 first, we're going to do 10 times 31 first. All right, so I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go ahead and multiply 10 times 31. Let's see what we get. So I'm going to start with my 31. And I'm going to multiply this times 10. So 3 tens times 10 and 1 1 times 10. So that gives me, I forgot to label this, that gives me 3 hundreds and 1 10. So now I'm going to multiply all of this times 4. That's times 2, times 3, times 4. And let's multiply this times 4. All right, so I'm going to need another column here because I can already see that I have more than 10 hundredths. So let's go ahead and bundle and make this 1,000. Before I do that, let's go ahead and put over here, that was 310. And now let's see what we get here when we do 310 times 4. So that was, here's my group of 10. And then I have 2 hundredths. Okay, so I've got 1,000. 2 hundredths, 4 tens, and no ones. So that would be 1,240. Okay? All right. This time, we're going to try to use the associative property without place value disk to solve. So you'll notice every time it's getting a little bit tougher. I think we can do it. All right, so this is our multiple of 10. So we're going to do 4 times 10 in parentheses times 34. This time I'm going to do 4 times 10 times 34. Move my parentheses. So I don't know if you noticed or not, but I bet you did because you're pretty smart. I bet you noticed that every time we did 10 times 34, it just became 10 more, right? We just moved everything to the left. So now we've got to do 4 times 340. Okay, so let's think about how this would look in unit form. I would have 4 times 3 hundredths, and I would have 4 tens. Okay, so think about this. 4 times 3 hundredths, that would be 12 hundredths. And then if I had 4 times 4 tens, that would be 16 tens. So can we put this back in standard form? I think we can. So this would be another 100, right? So that would be 1,300 6 tens. If that was too much in your head, you could have always come over here and done this, right? But sometimes I kind of like to stretch my brain and try to do it a different way. But you could have always written it out like this, okay? All right, so let's come over here and let's try this one. So we have 5 times 10 times 43. So it's still 5 times 10 times 43, but we're going to do the 10 times 43 first. So that gives me 5 times 430. So this time I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to do standard algorithm. 430 times 5, which would give me 0. 15, which would be 21, which would be 2,150. Okay? All right, moving right along. Okay, for the last bit here, we're going to use a different strategy this time. This time we're going to be using the distributive property instead of using the associative property. So remember, the distributive property is where you are distributing, or they called it the break apart strategy in the Zern lesson. So this time we're going to do this. We're going to break apart 34. You don't have to write this, but I want to kind of show you this. So if this were 34 and we were breaking it apart, we could break it apart into 30 and 4. So remember, you don't have to write this. I just kind of want to show you. We're breaking apart 30 into 30 and 4, and then we're going to be distributing that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 40. Hold on. Let's try this again. So let's think of this as 40 times 30 plus 4. So here's where the distributive part comes in. We're going to multiply the 30 times 40 like this. And then we're going to add that to the 40 times 4. So we are multiplying, we're still multiplying 40 times 34. We're just doing this as 40 times 30 and 40 times 4. So let's think about this for a minute. I've got 4 tens times 3 tens. So remember that would be 12 hundredths. And then I've got 4 tens times 4, which would be 16 tens or 160. So now I just have to add this together. That would be 1,360. Pretty cool, right? That was pretty easy. So let's try this one. So we've got 60 times 20 plus 5. So we're going to do 60 times 20 first, and then we're going to add that to 60 times 5. So let's do 60 times 20. That would be 12 hundredths. And then 60 times 5 would be 300. Then when I add that together, I get 1,500. So in this whole lesson, we were multiplying a multiple of 10 times a two-digit number, and we used two different strategies. We used the associative property and a place value chart, and we also used the distributive property. I hope that you had as much fun in this lesson as I did, because I thought this was a lot of fun.